guys, Bill, the Kansas Flamingo Chef. It's an exciting day for me. It's a Sunday. I've got some friends and family coming over and we're going to make some Southern fried catfish, but not just any catfish. This is a Louisiana tradition, something you may not have tried before. It's a mustard batter catfish. I absolutely love it. We're also going to do some collard greens, mustard greens, fried green tomatoes, and then for one of our guests who doesn't eat fish or anything else I just mentioned, I don't know, I'm going to do chicken of some kind. So it should be an interesting episode because we're going to do a little bit of everything. So we're going to get started with mustard greens and collard greens. Now they're all a little different. This is a collard green. This is when you pick them up at the store. Now obviously you can buy these things canned and already cooked if you want to save some time, but I just love the flavor of real collard greens. So I've got a combination of collard greens and mustard greens. I've got one batch of each. When you get them at the store, they're going to be big leaves like this. So what we're going to do is just pull down across this vein that's in the middle and get rid of that spiny thing because you don't want to eat that. So we throw that away and all you're going to have left are leaves. And I'm going to bring the camera down so you can see. Now what we're going to do next is chop up all these leaves. Okay, so we're ready to cook greens. Let's talk about our ingredients real quick. Obviously, we've got the greens that we chopped up. Those are kind of important. We've got a pretty good sized stock pot and some water. And then we've got hot sauce. Now, I like Tabasco. If you prefer Louisiana hot sauce or a different brand, use whatever you want. But I like the vinegar in the Tabasco. Speaking of vinegar, we got apple cider vinegar. We got a little Lee and Perrins Worcestershire sauce. I can't talk today. Cayenne pepper. You can use crushed red pepper if you rather. I like the spice of the cayenne. Just good old salt and pepper. An interesting add, ginger beer. Now I like the little zing of the ginger, but if you'd rather just use a regular beer, that works too. I really suggest that if you're going to do that, that you use a light Pilsner or even like an American light lager, something you're not going to drink, but preferably something somebody left at your house 3 months ago. And then last but not least, we have ham hocks. Now, if you don't know what these are, you're not normally going to eat these things, okay? And in fact, when you pick them up from your butcher or from your grocery store, it's not uncommon for them to have a little mold on them. All you're going to do is scrape that off and then put these directly into the pan. So that's how we're going to start. And we're going to start with a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. Not very much, maybe a teaspoon. Turn your heat to about medium high, and we're going to set these ham hocks right down in the pan. We're also going to get some garlic. That's an onion. We're going to have an onion and some garlic, all right? Now, if you've watched some of my shows before, you know that I like minced garlic in a jar. It just saves a little time. So while the ham hock is starting to cook, we're going to cut up an onion. Turn the camera so you can see. Nothing special here, just a good old diced onion. Now this happens to be a Vidalia sweet onion. It's my favorite. And I highly recommend them for this dish. But you can use just a regular yellow or white onion. I wouldn't use a red onion just because you're going to get some weird color change. Flavor-wise, it'd probably be okay, but the sweet onion would be your best choice. We're just going to cut that onion up, throw it in there with the ham hocks, and let that start to cook. Meanwhile, we're going to have some garlic. We're going to get a heaping tablespoon, not a teaspoon, but a heaping tablespoon of garlic. And I might add just a little teaspoon on top, in fact. This is going to take a few minutes to get going. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat up to high so that onions start to cook. I'm also going to get just a little bit of white wine. And I've got some white wine left over from the other night from cooking something else. This is a Clifford Bay Sauvignon Blanc. It honestly doesn't matter what wine it is. We're only going to put just a couple of ounces in there. We got a nice sizzle going, as you can hear now, so we're going to add a little bit of hot sauce. Just, I'm going to put about 10 strokes in there, but again, it's to your flavor preference. We're going to add some salt. We're going to add more salt in a little bit, but we're going to salt it for now. Some black pepper. A couple of shots of Worcestershire. Basically all we're doing at this point is just letting those ham hocks kind of warm up and the onions cook down. I'm also going to add a little bit of parsley. Now, I didn't mention this before because it's one of those things that you don't have to have, but I personally really like. It just adds a little bit of zest to the dish. If you have fresh parsley, use fresh parsley. At this point, you're going to start to smell pork, because those ham hocks are going to start to release some pork fat in there, which is what we want. And when you start to smell the pork cooking, that's when you're going to go ahead and start putting your greens in, just right on top. Okay. Add a little apple cider vinegar. Doesn't take a lot, maybe a tablespoon, and then start putting water on top. Okay, and you want to put enough water in the pan that it covers the greens. I used about 3/4 of a gallon here. And then push them down in there. Get them in the water. We're going to add some more salt. We're going to add a little bit of cayenne. All right, a little bit of cayenne. That's probably more than most people like. I like cayenne. We're going to stir this together. At this point, I like to smell it and see if I can smell the vinegar. If you don't smell vinegar, you need more vinegar. It's that simple. And then I'm going to add just a touch of ginger beer, maybe 2 ounces, probably not even that. And we're going to turn the heat down to about medium-high. We're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to cover it and let it simmer for about 2 hours. Welcome back. The greens are done, and I just have them sitting over here simmering. I'll just see what it looks like. The pork is still in there, and I'm going to keep that water in there. And here in just a minute, I'm going to add one more ingredient that you don't have to use, but I think it makes the dish. Because there's mustard greens in here, I want to bring out that mustard flavor. Mustard barbecue sauce. Now, everything you've seen here has been locally sourced. This is all from the Wichita, Kansas area. So is this. This is called Chili Slinger Barbecue. Local company. No, they are not a sponsor, but I'd be happy if they were. This is absolutely fantastic stuff, this Patilli mustard. So all I'm going to do is just add a little bit of the Chili Slinger mustard barbecue. Obviously, if you don't have that, you can use something else. You can use yellow mustard if you want to, it works. But you just need some mustard in there. And stir that in. And I'm just going to leave this sitting on low until we're ready to serve them. I've just got garden picked green tomatoes. They're almost to the point where they'd start turning yellow, not orange. I've got plenty of orange tomatoes over here I picked this morning, but these green ones we're going to use for this. I've got some flour, I've got white cornmeal, some Italian breadcrumbs, salt and pepper, and Old Bay seasoning. Okay, we're going to start with some flour. We're going to take about 1/3 cup of flour. That's all we're going to need for this. And you don't need this to be a heaving over the top. In fact, it doesn't even have to be full. That's plenty. We'll get that out of the way. We're going to add some salt. And you do want a lot of salt in these. And I'm going to fry these in vegetable oil here shortly. Okay, then we want pepper. Honestly, you don't need as much pepper as salt. Some Old Bay, not very much, maybe a teaspoon. A little bit of breadcrumbs, again, not a whole lot. Okay, and now the main part of this is going to be white cornmeal. So I'm going to put probably 2/3, maybe even a full cup in here. And just whisk this all together. Now you can add some other seasonings to this if you want to. You could add some granulated garlic. You could add some oregano. Just about anything that really jumps out at you. I do want to put a little bit of parsley in it because that'll bring out that tomato flavor. And I'm also going to put just a little bit of onion powder. Not very much. In this bowl, I have buttermilk and a couple of eggs. That's it. I'm going to add in a bowl a bag of Louisiana fish fry with lemon, and I'm going to add a bag of classic without lemon. Then I'm going to add just a little bit of breadcrumbs and a little bit of white flour. As I mentioned earlier, I got one guest today that does not eat fish, so I'm doing a chicken dish for them. I'm gonna have to make a cheese sauce, and it's not difficult, but I'm gonna show you how to do it because people burn it so easily. So I've got just a medium-sized saucepan here that I'm gonna turn up to about medium heat. And I've got some sour cream, some Monterey Jack cheese, and some half and half, and flour just in case. So all we're going to do as that pan starts to warm up is dump the Monterey Jack cheese in there. I'm just going to use the whole bag. We're going to add a little bit of sour cream in there, about a tablespoon. I'm also going to put some green chilies in this. And the reason I'm going to do that, I want it to have more of a flavor than just cheese. So now we're going to add a little milk and a can of green chilies. I did add a little more milk to my cheese sauce, and it needed it. You can see you just got to keep checking the consistency. You just want it to be at that Mexican restaurant cheese. You know what I'm talking about? The white queso that comes to the table. That's what I'm making here. That's all this is. But we're going to use it over the top of stuff. The next thing we have to do, of course, is grill the chicken. We got to cook catfish. But now we're going to make just some peppers and onions to go with. Pretty simple. I've got garlic butter. I've got some tahini. I've got chopped up peppers and onions. That's all there is. So we're going to bring the camera over here a little closer so you can see. I've got a pan cooking on high, and it's getting hot real fast. In fact, I'm going to bring that pan, the heat down. Now what we're going to do, I like to put the vegetables in first. On a good non-stick pan, you don't have to put the butter in first. So then we're going to add a little butter, a little garlic butter, a little bit of tahini. Okay. Don't need any Old Bay for this one. And we're just going to saute these peppers and onions. That's it. That's all there is to it. Just cook them till they go limp. They're ready to go. Okay, so our mustard batter is basically going to consist of French's yellow mustard, a couple of eggs, some buttermilk, and gee, here's a surprise, some more Old Bay seasoning. Real simple. Once again, we're just going to crack a couple eggs. I'm using this big pan because that way, once I have it made, the catfish will go into it a whole lot easier. Buttermilk, mustard, pardon the clanging, and last but not least, Old Bay seasoning. We are outside in the great outdoors, and right behind me you can see a couple of cast iron skillets. That's what we're going to cook everything in today, except the chicken. The chicken's going to cook straight on the pellet grill. But the whole meal is going to cook right here on the Pit Boss, which I have got set on high, and it's currently at 455 degrees. That's my oldest. Say hi, Michael.
What's going on?
All right. So Michael's going to take over camera work for me. We're going to get the grease hot, and we're going to start with the tomatoes. Have been soaking in this buttermilk egg mixture, and this is not rocket science. You're just going to throw them into the breading mixture, and I'm going to put them all in there at once, and then just kind of mix this stuff up with just a meat thermometer. Just set it in the grease and see what it temps out at, and if it's under about 250, there is no reason to start throwing stuff in. These things cook pretty quickly. Just going to set a few into the pan and let them fry. I've got the catfish here wrapped up, ready to go. And all I did was wrap them in parchment paper and then roll aluminum around just to keep them ready until I was ready to cook. And I want you to see, I am not using fillets. If you like catfish fillets, that's fine, but the way I'm doing this today, I want whole fish. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop these whole catfish into the mustard. Again, not rocket science. I'm going to put about 3 or 4 of them in there at a time, and I'm going to get them coated in that mustard before they go into the fish. All right, so we get the fish covered in mustard, put mustard on the inside and the outside, and then just drop them in this fish batter that we made earlier. So, we're going to take this fish and gently, trying not to make a giant splash and mess, set him in the grease. Okay, time to take some fish off. And man, does that look and smell good. All right, so I'm a big believer you should just drop them on to an aluminum pan. Now, if you want to set paper towels in here and drain the grease, that's fine, but quite frankly, you don't need to. So, we're going to pull the fish, and the key here is to try not to let them fall apart as you pick them up, because they are done. You can see how rigid they are. Now, I know a lot of people like to deep fry fish. If you want to run catfish, deep fry it. You pan fry catfish. Just like you pan fry chicken fried steak. It does not go in a deep fryer. Alright. One more fish. There we go. There are 4 beautiful catfish. I've got 3 more I'm going to put in here just because I've already got them ready to go. But when we come back, I'm going to grill the chicken I told you about. I mean, it's grilled chicken. It's not that exciting. But I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the world's most boring meal now, grilled chicken. Because I think grilled chicken is boring, it needs to, as Emerald Lagasse would say, kick it up a notch. So this is called Blackstone Tequila Lime Seasoning. This is cheap, guys. I think I got this at Walmart for like $4, but it's fantastic. So if you want to make chicken taste worth a damn, just put this on the chicken quite liberally and make it taste good on both sides. And then just, this grill is hot. I mean hot. So it's going to sear pretty quickly. So we'll cook that right beside the fish as we finish them up. And then when the chicken's done, we're going to plate and have something. So this is the finished project with the chicken. And as you can see, that doesn't just look like a grilled chicken this time. Okay, I am walking up, and you can see everybody sitting here waiting on me to quit shooting videos so they can eat fish, chicken for the picky person, and then everything else on the table, and we'll just ask people what they think as they eat. Let's dig in. Kim's pretty excited with herself. I showed her how to pull the meat off a catfish bone, and you can see looks like something out of a cartoon hanging there. What it does. T, what do you think?
Fried green tomatoes. Like your grandma.
All right, so we're gonna take the pole here. You can see that I don't like it at all. I'm almost out of fish. Tion, apparently the greens and catfish and ham hocks have taken over.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
But he doesn't seem to be disappointed in the fish.
No.
And we have the skeleton over here, which is about out of fish. The chicken queen, you can see she even thanked me personally for making her something different. And then on the far end, our video man, who said that he was only going to eat greens today.
He stole my spot.
But, you know. So the verdict seems to be fried catfish is a good family meal. It's a beautiful day to be sitting outside eating this. And we look forward to seeing you again. Next week, we're all going to be together while I cook crayfish étouffée. And we make some hurricanes. And we've already had one of our friends tell us he don't want to eat it because he don't like crawfish. We're going to see what happens.